Alright, so it is 10:09 a.m. Right now we're heading to the train station. We're going to take the train to the airport. And we're already struggling. Alright, so we're on our last flight finally to Dubrovnik. I think we got like 3 hours left and then we'll have made it. It'll be like a little over 24 hours. There he is. How are you doing? How do you like your first new country?
Speechless.
So cool. This is our exercise every day. This whole city is like on the side of a mountain. So, anyways, we're gonna go back. We're gonna eat and try and sleep so we have energy to do stuff tomorrow and not be jet lagged for a week. Alright, so it's the morning, second day here. I actually went to this really cool bakery that's just right outside where we're staying at our Airbnb. Just a local place. They have some of the best stuff though. So I got my breakfast, headed down the steps right now. We're gonna head into town today and see what we can find. So right now we're in the old city of Dubrovnik. Hold on. Before we get into all that, let's talk about where we are. Dubrovnik is located here, on the southern tip of Croatia, on the Adriatic Sea. The city is really old. Its origins trace all the way back to the 7th century. You can really see how old it is in the classic medieval architecture and the fortified old town, which is surrounded by this huge wall. Dubrovnik was even added to the list of UNESCO World Heritage Sites. This has made it a very popular tourist destination. Not to mention the fact that a ton of Game of Thrones was filmed here at Dubrovnik, as well as the surrounding cities. Alright, getting back to the streets of Dubrovnik. While exploring Old Town, we came across many interesting places, like this farmer's market, which is located right in the heart of the city. The prices were noticeably higher than in the store. We definitely noticed the tourist tax, but they had more variety, and the fruit was definitely sweeter and fresher. Also, while we're on the subject of food, make sure that you read the Google reviews of a restaurant before you sit down, because we had some terrible service. Like at this one restaurant, they brought us that when we ordered this, and they refused to switch it out, and also the food wasn't very great. Oh, and make sure you get gelato, because it's just as good as in Italy, if not better. Dubrovnik is full of beautiful places, but these are a few that we would recommend to go and visit. The city walls were finished in the 13th century. They run uninterrupted for over 6,300 feet, and in sections they reach as high as 83 feet. The walls have endured centuries of sieges, and even remain standing after an earthquake in the 17th century that destroyed most of the city. Buying a ticket to climb and walk around the wall allows you to see many breathtaking views of the city that can't be seen from the ground. The Franciscan Museum was mainly interesting because of the outdoor square area. There are only a couple of art pieces inside the museum itself, so we didn't spend much time there. We moved on to the next stop. If you only have time to visit one museum in all of Dubrovnik, the Rector's Palace is the place to go. It has a few exhibits inside that show artifacts and tell the history of Dubrovnik, all of which you can see in about 2 hours. Throughout history, the palace has served as the seat of the city rector, an administration building, an armory, and even a prison. This is one of the cells that was left intact. Let's keep moving forward. We're gonna head over right now to Banja Beach, which is only like a 4-minute walk from the old town. It's usually super crowded, but hopefully it won't be too bad. So the nice thing about Dubrovnik is that if you're here on the beaches, you're gonna have a great view like this all the time. But the biggest problem here is all of the beaches kind of look like this. Yeah, it's covered in rocks. So not the most comfortable beach to be on, but the water's warm, so once you're in the water, it's fine. After spending 4 days in Dubrovnik, we really started to love it here. We did have a couple of cold, rainy days, but that didn't spoil our time in the city. If anything, it enhanced the beauty of the stone architecture. But now it's time to move on to our next destination. Our next stop is the city of Split. It's located about 3 hours north of Dubrovnik on the coast. There are two ways you can get to Split. One is an inland toll road highway, which is the fastest, most convenient way to get there. But if you're not in a rush, the other way is a windy road that runs along the coast. It does take about a half hour longer, but it has some amazing views of the coast and takes you through some small cities that you can explore as you drive north. About an hour into our drive, we decided to stop at one of these cities. It was called Ston. Ston is a small city that is famous for the 7-kilometer long wall that surrounds it. It's actually the second longest wall in the world, just after the Great Wall of China. The wall is cool. If you only have an hour or two, you can go up and see this pretty view of the town. Or if you want, you could hike all 7 kilometers of it. For us, 20 minutes of hiking up the wall was plenty, so we got some more gelato and hit the road to Split. Fast forward a couple hours, and we made it to Split. This is what we're trying to drive through right now and find a spot. Here's another car coming. He thinks he can fit in with us. Driving in Croatia, just like a lot of Europe, is terrible. The roads are narrow and you can't find parking anywhere. And it probably didn't help that we're driving a giant van. Eventually though, we found parking and we went out. At the entrance to Old Town, you are met by Gurgurninski, who was a famous Croatian bishop that changed religious services from being in Latin to Croatian. Besides him looking a little freaky, locals say that rubbing his toes supposedly will bring you good luck. So you usually find a herd of tourists around him trying to rub his toes. Diocletian's palace is in the heart of Old Town Split. It was originally built as a retirement home for the Roman emperor. The palace itself is huge, stretching over 7.5 acres, which is just under 6 football fields. About half the palace was his home, and the rest housed a military garrison. It's easy to see why it was included as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Under the palace is a vast network of catacombs that transports you back to the past. Or at least it would if they hadn't turned the main hall into a marketplace of souvenirs and knickknacks. But at least the city turned a large portion of the underground into a museum. The catacombs cover about 1/8 of the entire palace and were originally used to store food and wine for the emperor. After the fall of the Roman Empire, the catacombs were forgotten, and many were filled with dirt and trash. They were rediscovered in the 19th century, and excavation work on the tunnels continued to this day. It smells like gross fish. After a full day of sightseeing, you can relax on the boardwalk, as long as you don't mind the fishy smell. Along the entire seafront, you have souvenir shops, cafes, restaurants, and benches that look out into the harbor. It's especially nice to be out at night, because that's when a lot of the street musicians come out to perform. Or you can head back to the palace, where they serve drinks and have live music every evening. And now we're heading back. Our last night in Split. And we have to leave early in the morning. One thing that surprised us while driving was how many tunnels there are. Like on our drive north, we went through at least 10 tunnels, one of which was even 3.5 miles long. Today we plan to take a day trip to Plitvice Lakes National Park. It's located right in the middle of Croatia in the mountains. This park was actually the main reason we decided to travel to Croatia, and even though it was raining the whole day, we were still able to enjoy the natural beauty of the lakes. Croatia is so beautiful that the camera doesn't do it justice. It truly has everything you could want from any vacation. Majestic beaches, enchanting architecture, and breathtaking nature. We enjoyed every moment of our trip, and if you'll ever have the opportunity to visit Croatia, do it. But most importantly, just get out of your house and go somewhere. Make some memories.